Hey there, future teacher, and welcome to another CBEST test prep lesson. Now, the great part about Pearson Education is that they actually provide us with an official CBEST practice test, and we can learn a lot about what we can expect to receive on test day. For example, they actually provide their own CBEST writing score scale, so we know the types of matching of material that we need to include in our essay writing responses in order to get a score of 4, 3, 2, or 1. And of course, we're shooting for that top score of 4. Now, at the same point, they actually provide us with two different topics, so for Essay 1 and Essay 2, and they provide us with an example. And then some sheet of paper to practice. However, the problem is that we can practice 1, 10, or 100 times, and we don't really know whether or not we're writing to the par or the scale that we need in order to write a passing score for our testing administrators. So I started asking myself, what if there was a way to build a product that actually checked your essay writing scores? So I did exactly that. And if we go on to our teacherpreps.com test prep, I actually built an AI essay power grader that uses the same rubric that you'll be scored upon on test day. So in this video, I'm going to share with you an essay prompt that's similar to what we just saw in the official testing practice test, but just I put in my own words. It's a different prompt, similar but different, asks you to demonstrate your same understanding in a different way. And then what I'm going to do is I'll read this. You and I can read it together. I'm going to actually input my own essay response right here. And this right here, this little black box, is the AI-powered essay grader, which not only provides you with the score, but also feedback to continuously improve. All right? So without further ado, make sure you also watch until the end, where I'm going to give you my 5-step framework that I used, which helped me pass this CBEST writing section of the exam. All right, so again, if you haven't watched, this is lesson number 2 of this 3-part series where I teach you how to write your essay to pass your upcoming written response, constructed response section of your CBEST exam. And I'm a fellow California credentialed teacher. My name's Elliot Zielinskis, and I'm here to help you pass. So, all right, let's go ahead and read CBEST essay number 1 prompt. Now, this one shares to reflect on the statement, "With age comes wisdom, but sometimes age comes alone." All right, so you want to think about this. Remember, this is a personal experience, and then there are some instructions right here. In an essay intended for an educated adult audience, discuss whether you agree or disagree with this perspective. Support your viewpoint with logical arguments and specific examples. So what I recommend for you to do is to think before you write, add some notes, possibly create an outline so that you know the main points of what you want to craft for your essay response. Now, in order to save us time and for you the boring part of me thinking about what I'm going to write, I already did that part, and I just put it in a little sheet here. And now what I'm going to do is, I can actually read it to you, but I will paste it into our AI-powered essay grader. And remember, this is what we're doing is we are responding to this prompt. With age comes wisdom, but sometimes age comes alone. And our main purpose here is to share with the testing administrator, the person who is grading our essay, whether we agree or not and why, and to build off that through our own personal experiences, the things that we have read or watched or listened to or perhaps participated in, especially in those classroom environments, either as a teacher or as a student. So let me go ahead and just read my own essay response. And even before I do that, I'll just copy this, and I want to share with you. I'm just here at wordcounter.net, just a little website that counts the amount of words. And I noticed that my response is about 250 words. So just to give you a kind of clear indication of what this looks like on a kind of bird's eye view, I have 4 small but 4 paragraphs, and we have the introduction here at the top. We have this section where I'll do some explaining as well as provide my own example. And then in the third section, the third paragraph, I provide the result of what came from this important experience that I lived. And then I wrap up this whole essay response in a conclusion paragraph where I restate the thesis. Now again, that was a high overview, and we'll go over all of this together. So let me just read this out to you. So again, what I'm doing is I am targeting specifically what is being asked of me for this essay. And so I just start by saying, I agree with the statement, and then I quote the same quotation that was given in the prompt. With age comes wisdom, but sometimes age comes alone, period. Now notice how direct and explicit I write this right in the first sentence of the first paragraph, and this helps the grader of the essay find exactly what they're looking for. Don't try to embed it somewhere in the middle. Just go ahead. If what your prompt is asking you to do is share or state whether you agree or disagree, state right from the beginning which side of the spectrum you're sitting on. So I agree with the statement, with age comes wisdom, comma, but sometimes age comes alone, period. There, the grader knows what they're in for from this point forward. Now, take a look at my second sentence. Through my experience of teaching English as a second language in Seoul, South Korea for 1 year, I learned that wisdom is gained not by getting older, but through meaningful engagement and this is why you read, write, and then you revise, right? Because I just had two with, so we're going to delete that. Engagement with others. And again, this is a true story. I actually taught for 1 year in Seoul, and it was life-changing. And so I feel like because I am becoming a teacher, or I am now, but at the time, before I took the CBEST, I taught in South Korea for 1 year right before I enrolled into the teacher certification program, that I want to share that because it was kind of like my liftoff of becoming a teacher. So again, notice that the introduction, the first paragraph is short. It's direct and it's right to the point. Now in the second paragraph, here I'll read it. When I taught at an English language school in Seoul, South Korea, I stepped outside of my comfort zone. Living and working in this new culture provided me with significant insights about cultural differences, communication, adaptability, and personal resilience. For instance, now this is important right here, you want to use these connecting words, these transition words or phrases. For instance, for example, moreover, nevertheless, all of these transition phrases will allow the exam grader to better and faster pinpoint the examples that you are building as evidence to support your thesis or your statement, which my statement is that I agree with that initial quote. So here we go. For instance, navigating daily life in a city where English was not the primary language taught me patience and empathy toward all the people from back home who originally came from another country. Gaining this personal experience has given me a greater sense of flexibility, open-mindedness, and respect for diverse perspectives. All right, so again, I first start by sharing the perspective or the experience that I can connect to the essay prompt, and then I use this for instance. So you want to go one level deeper and share how that made a difference and how it made a meaningful difference. Now let's go on to paragraph number 3. After that year of teaching abroad, I returned to California to enroll into the multiple subjects teaching credential program to become a credentialed elementary teacher. And it was then when I noticed that my year-long experience abroad had accelerated my personal growth. So that sentence right there, again, it goes deeper. And this third sentence is where I'm sharing the outcome of the experience that's connected me to the prompt, where I'm sharing whether I agree with it or I disagree with it. Now, let's go on and read the last sentence of this third paragraph. To no necessary fault of their own, the people who stayed doing the same hobbies, maintaining the same friends, and working the same jobs simply hadn't grown in those same 365 days that an experience like teaching abroad will do to you. All right, so now you recognize the difference that was created based off the experience that you're writing about. And then finally, really quickly, briefly, but again, purposefully, you're going to wrap the initial thesis statement up into a nice bow, into a conclusion, so that it doesn't feel like your writing just truncates and then you move on. You want to transition kind of neatly and sort of peacefully into a conclusion paragraph that restates your thesis. And here we go. I'll read this to you. Ultimately, this international experience confirms my belief that wisdom is actively gained through saying yes to life's challenges and opportunities. That being said, aging without seeking meaningful experiences does not necessarily lead to wisdom. All right, now the great part about this AI essay grader is that once you're finished, you will actually receive a grade and feedback. So all you need to do is click this button and give it just a moment. And let's see what it comes up with after it has read my essay. So it says, thank you for submitting the essay. Upon grading this, now you can read all of this, but what I'm really interested in is right here, a score of 4. Now, I'm telling you, I'm really excited about this. I was kind of nervous about this because this is like a demo and this is the first time I'm recording the video, but I got a score of 4, and that to me tells me like, okay, no matter whether they tell me on my actual CBEST exam, whether I agree with, a story or a quotation or a text passage or a classroom scenario or a scenario in the lunch hall or study hall or anything, I feel like I now have the structure and the confidence to write another passing response. Now, I just want to share that with this essay grader, it's actually really hard to get a score of 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reload the page, and I'm going to share with you what happens if you just say something that doesn't make any sense, like, it's not relevant to the essay prompt at hand. Like, I like California's weather, and surfing is like so much fun. Don't you think? And, if you say, you can treat it like a real essay grader, and if you say something that's not relevant, it will say, it will not provide you with the appropriate feedback, such as a score and the essay feedback that you want to improve your writing. It might just say something like, well, that's great that you enjoy the weather, okay? But once you actually write something that's applicable to this prompt in particular, you will receive not only a score of 1, 2, 3, or 4, but also feedback to help you improve. Now, before I end this segment of the CBEST Essay 1, what I want to do is I want to break down the written response that I created one more time to help you really visualize how you can structure your own essay prompt. Now, this is the same essay response that I inputted into the AI-powered essay grader, but I did a couple highlighting, some underlining to make sure that it's just really clear and transparent how you can also write a passing score for your exam. Now, as I mentioned before, my very first statement, and the one that I believe that should also be yours, is simply whether you agree or disagree with that text passage or that quote or the scenario that you're given. Then you'll notice how I underlined this, because this is backing up the beginning in an introductory way. Why or how is the reason that I do agree or disagree. And again, it's because through this magical experience of teaching abroad in Seoul for 1 year, it really helped open my eyes into this quote that connects to me, that, it's not necessarily that age always comes with wisdom, but it's about doing the hard things and gaining the opportunities and experiences and life skills. That's what is connected with wisdom, but it's more that age is connected with wisdom rather than wisdom is connected with age, right? All right, and then so I also highlighted this section in red. Living and working in this new culture provided me with significant insights. That's the introduction into, for instance, the literal part where I state my own evidence that living in a place where English was not the first language helped me truly build empathy towards working with a variety of people and backgrounds. And that was the main part which kind of gave me wisdom that I felt that I grew after that year of teaching abroad. Again, this is so if the first paragraph is the introduction, the second paragraph is you stating your evidence, the third paragraph is you providing the outcome of whatever it is, that book that you read, the movie that you watched, the podcast that you listened to, that trip that you took, the friends that you made. It's the outcome from that experience. And then one more time, you want to make sure to write a quick, short conclusion paragraph that re-summarizes the introduction that you wrote. Now, here are the 5 steps, as promised, to writing a passing score on essay number 1 of your CBEST exam. So number 1, make sure to answer the prompt clearly, concisely, and focused in exactly what they're looking for. Step number 2 is to share your own personal experience. That's what they really want to see. The grader doesn't want you to quote some sonnet from a Shakespeare play or some theory that you necessarily read, even in some kind of educator book. They want you to connect the prompt to your own personal life. And then step 3 is to provide evidence that supports what you're writing about. Step 4 is to share the outcome, and step 5 is to restate that thesis. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want access to our AI-powered essay grader, make sure that you go to teacherpreps.com, click the blue button that reads Get Test Prep Now, and you'll get instant access to all of our AI essay graders, as well as CBEST study materials. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.